Hello everyone, how are you doing today? My name is Mohammad Azam from Azam Sharp School. And in this video, I just want to give out some of my thoughts on vibe coding. So recently, I was working on one of my indie projects, my indie application, iOS app, and I use a lot of ChatGPT or other AI tools, but mainly ChatGPT to write code. And I was able to complete the app in very fast manner. It works, you know, but there are a couple of issues that I wanted to discuss over here. First of all, the app works fine. Everything is okay and all that. But at the end, first of all, the code that was generated by AI, because I went back to revisit and read some of the screen, and then I compared, the code generated by AI was like 10 times more, right? It was insane amount of code that AI or ChatGPT was generating to achieve a particular solution. And the reason I know that is that, as I mentioned, I went back and did the whole thing myself. And then I'm like, okay, hold on a second. Why did ChatGPT or any other AI tool generate so much amount of code? So that's the first issue. And I'm sure that a lot of developers are like, well, no, we always go back and we edit, but we know, and talking to other developers also, I've learned that most of the developers, they don't really go back to AI code or the code written by AI and then they change anything. They don't. All right. They just copy paste, get it to work. All right. I'm not saying if that's you, but I've talked to a lot of developers and that's what I found out. Now, the other thing was that even though the app was working and the features were working and the UI looked really nice, when I look at the app and everything was working, I didn't really felt the sense of, any accomplishment. Yeah, it works, but back of my mind is someone is saying that you didn't do it. You didn't do any of that stuff. You just copy pasted from ChatGPT. And that was actually much more of, put a more effect on me actually, because I like to do things and I like to think of solutions. I may not be able to create the perfect user interface. I may not be able to create a beautiful UI. Absolutely. I cannot. I don't have those skill sets, but I can learn those things. And what happens is, with ChatGPT or AI tools, writing all the stuff, I didn't really end up learning anything. So, it was kind of like a empty feeling, in other words, that you didn't really deserve it. You were just handed this thing and you are saying that you did it, but you didn't. So that's kind of like an empty feeling that I was left with, So those are my views on vibe coding. Now, vibe coding can be really great if you just want to quickly create a prototype. And, sometimes I actually also use it to design the user interface. I will give it a code, like the functioning code with, basic white background, whatever. And then I would ask ChatGPT or something to, okay, can you make it really beautiful? And then I'll try to see, okay, what's going on and kind of like refactor it. Those kind of things. But even if it's doing any kind of a UI work, it is creating so much code, at least like 10 times more the code that is being created by ChatGPT. So those are some of my thoughts. Now, I definitely use ChatGPT for some back and forth conversation. Hey, I'm trying to save a budget. I'm trying to save a transaction or an expense. What different properties do I need? Oh, this property has to be this. Okay. System design and kind of like relationship building, database relationship. So that's definitely helpful to talk to someone and get, these ideas. Or, hey, what should I include in my first version? Or what should I include in my version, second version? Writing the description, coming up with the keywords, so those kind of things, coming up with the messages in the app. Those are all fine, But as it comes to the code itself, it was way more code that ChatGPT was generating, or I guess other AI tools will do the same thing. A lot of code will be generated. But I think the biggest thing, apart from the code, was there was just no sense of accomplishment in the end for my case. I mean, I did it, yes, but in the back of my head, back of my mind is telling me you didn't do it. It's all ChatGPT. You didn't really write that code. So that kind of like empty, or the feeling of emptiness, that's really not good, because I did not end up learning anything in the end. So what are your thoughts on vibe coding, and how do you use vibe coding in your projects? I would be very interested to know. Well, thank you so much, and hope you have a great day.